welcome back to my channel. It is another thrifting day, and hopefully we can find some great things. So I'm gonna put the timestamp right here if you want to fast forward right to the haul. But without further ado, let's go thrifting. So welcome to a series of weeks of me thrifting and not finding much. I figured this would be the perfect opportunity though to grab all the footage and put it together to actually have a sizable haul. And as lucky as I have been when it comes to finding artwork at thrift stores, I'm always looking for more, just want to see what's out there, and these past few weeks were no exception. I have also been keeping an eye out for vintage mirrors. I am in the process of creating a mirror wall, and it was such a hard decision to pass up this mirror, but I figured it wasn't what I was going for, and therefore I should probably leave it behind. I'd say this particular day, it wasn't that inventory was bad. I've actually thought there were quite a few decent items there. Side note, this cat kind of creeped me out. But the biggest factor in me not grabbing much was the fact that the prices were just a little too high this particular day. However, I did really like this faux greenery plant, and the only reason why I walked away from it was because I was going in a different direction in my home. Now, blue is not a popular color in my home, but I really love the pattern of this lamp. I decided to walk away from it, although I will say I was going back and forth on it for the longest time. And although style-wise not something that I would normally grab, I was fairly intrigued by this piece. But of course I had to stop and take a look at some pottery. Now, I really loved this piece. I was completely enamored with the handle of this mug. And wooden bowl sets are donated to this thrift store quite frequently actually, and so I thought $15.99 for the set for what they were kind of grouping together was actually a really good price, although I did not need any more wooden bowl sets. I also stumbled across this frame. I thought it was a great size. Unfortunately, the wood had been painted black though, and it would have been nice to see what its original color looked like. I also noticed this galvanized pitcher, just thought it was a really cute shape. I had my sister in mind when I picked it up, however, I decided to put it back on the shelf because I do need to focus on other things before I bring in the home decor. So after feeling like I walked and combed through each aisle and each shelf multiple times, I really felt like there wasn't much for me at this thrift store, so I decided to leave. But I will say, before I went to this thrift store, I actually went to a flea market with my mom. Now, this is a flea market I've been to once in the past, and we just happened to be in the area, so we decided to stop and take a look around. Now, I was really drawn to this candlestick, and it took all my willpower to actually walk away from it. I know I might never find something exactly like it, however, I might find something similar, and even on the days where I don't pick up anything, I feel like thrifting is just a great adventure, and it's a really great way to learn more about your style and draw inspiration from the things that you see in the store. And so although I walked out empty-handed this particular day, I will say the pieces that I saw really gave me inspiration and things that I want to keep an eye out for in the hopes I can find a better deal. Now, this vendor booth in particular was actually something that I really enjoyed perusing through. From the wood pieces to the old pottery, it just felt like the type of pieces that I would love to put in my home. And this was such a great picture. I love the frame of it. Unfortunately, $175 is not in my budget. This booth though had so many great quality pieces, I'm sure well worth the prices that they had on them, and it was tough to fall in love with a piece only to leave it behind, but I'm hopeful that I'll find something like it in the future. And vintage items were not in short supply when it comes to this flea market. I found so many things that just reminded me of my childhood and then reminded me of my grandparents. It was actually really fun to actually talk to my mom about these items as she remembered them growing up as well. But back to Goodwill on a different day to try my luck once again. First thing I stumbled across was this plant. I actually really liked the style of it, and it was just the right size to fit on a bookshelf. I also found this plate to be quite charming actually. I was so tempted to buy it. It seemed like the perfect wall piece, but decided last minute to put it back. Also, full disclosure, I actually thought this crab was quite creepy, but let it be known I went back the next weekend and it was already gone, so someone must have fell in love with it. And these pieces right here were stunning. I really love the look of them. The blue and white obviously is very popular with thrifting, and although I don't have that kind of color scheme in my home, I will say someone was definitely happy to take those pieces home. They were just so beautiful that I can understand the appeal of them. And I had a few pieces like these in my home until recently. Old habits is what made me stop and take a look, although I'm really liking where my home is trending right now. And although I already have a few pairs of candle wall sconces, I couldn't help but stop and take a look at these. Not necessarily my style, but still was intrigued nonetheless. And I originally put this piece in my cart to take home with me. Last minute though, I decided to put it back on the shelf despite the fact that I have something similar to it and I thought that they would work well together. But how adorable are these pieces? I couldn't help but smile as I was reading the recipes for each of the items. And I love amber colored glass. I have quite a few pieces like this. $9.99 was quite shocking though, and I wasn't in love with it enough to spend that price. So this is a piece in the thrift store I've seen there quite often, and I was actually surprised to still find it there on this day. Now, I put it in my cart before once, but decided last minute to take it out of my cart, so this time around, I actually took it home with me. And I really love the roses in this picture. I thought it was actually a really cute picture. Unfortunately, I just wasn't feeling it on the particular day that I decided to go shopping, and so I left it behind. But the following week, it was another day, another time to go thrifting. This time around though, I wasn't left to be disappointed. So I had just recently pared down my candlestick holders when I stumbled across these. I love the tulip style, but unfortunately I had to pass on them for obvious reasons. I really fell in love with the landscape in this painting though, so I decided to pick it up. And I'd love to thrift candlesticks at the thrift store, and these were such a departure from what I would normally pick up. However, they were a good price, so I decided to take a chance on them. And missed opportunity here. I think this would have been a great item for my kitchen just to style it up a little bit more, but unfortunately, I left it behind for some reason. And this copper kettle was so beautiful too. Unfortunately, I feel like this day I wasn't thinking about kitchen items and I was just only focused on home decor. And I actually really like the shape of these vases. Unfortunately though, vases are something that I have a lot of, and so I decided to put those back on the shelf. And although I haven't thrifted a lot of plate sets from the thrift store, I will say these ones had a really cute pattern. And on this day, I was hopeful to find some object decor to style my bookshelves with, but unfortunately, I didn't find much that was appealing to me. And if there were more than 2 of these glasses, I would not have hesitated to walk away with them. I thought they were beautiful, and although I don't need stemware like this, I wanted to be a little bougie and buy them. I mean, they were so gorgeous that honestly, I would have taken them home if I could. And this piece had beautiful carving, deceptively light though, so I wasn't sure what kind of material it actually was. And this shape of this item kind of reminded me of a dog bowl. If it was a dog bowl, it was a really cute one. And although I'm not a collector, I know these kind of vintage cookie jars are quite popular. But it was around this time that I realized I'd seen all that I wanted to see, and after many uneventful thrifting days, we finally have some semblance of a haul. And so, with that being said, it's thrift haul time. Okay, so first up is this book right here. I love the cover of it. It's a beautiful color. I've been gravitating towards green a lot for some reason, to the point where like I have to stop myself from wanting to paint every single wall green. Now this book is called Drapery and Slipcover Cutting and Making. So it's a book about literally making drapes. I mean, this is obviously a book for a particular audience. I unfortunately am not that audience, but I do think it's something that I would peruse through. It does have like illustrations and stuff, which I thought was really cool. And this is an older book, but I didn't realize how extravagant some drapes can be. But I think it will be a great coffee table book. Now the copyright is 1950, so I'm thinking it's probably around that age. As you can tell, it's a very worn book, but still in really good condition. The spine is still intact. And this is a great book for me to style stuff on top of. This book was $3.99, so I think $3.99 for this book was a pretty good price. So next up are these coasters. I really like the fact that they're wood coasters for one, but I do like the fact that they have a gold inset too. It's got a great texture on it though, and I love the wood grain. It has a beautiful variation. Kind of gives me mid-century type vibes, but really think they're awesome. They also have a cork bottom as well. There's 4 of them in total, and they were only $2.99, so I thought it was a pretty good price. I'm always in need of coasters. Buying a 4-pack for $2.99 I thought was pretty good. So next up is this candlestick holder right here. It is a horse, a cast iron horse, and it was just a very unique candlestick holder. Obviously, I don't need any more candlestick holders in my life, but I will say this one was just a cute one that I couldn't pass up on. Also, it's cast iron. I love the rust coming off of it. Like the candlestick holder top is imperfect. It looks like it was probably handcrafted, but just a really cool piece, and I'm actually very surprised that the horse is intact fully. Usually when I go to the thrift store and buy like figurines and stuff, always is missing like an ear or its tail or something. So the fact that this one is actually intact is such a bonus. I love that. Now this one was $5.99. I do think that was a little high, but given the fact that it was cast iron, I am going to give it a pass. Still was an amazing grab and an amazing find. This is a perfect segue to the next one. So next up are actually these candlesticks. Wow, they are reading really orange. Okay, they are not that orange. I thought these would be perfect candlesticks for the fall, so I thought I would try some orange ones, but I think these will be great to use to cozy up to during the fall weather. I'm super excited about fall weather. So yeah, I definitely had fall in mind when I picked these up, but I do think these are going to be great to have in the home. Now they were 99 cents for each pair, so I got 6 altogether. Usually I find them around $1.99, so 99 cents for these, thought it was pretty good. Next up is some greenery. I thought it was just a cute little plant, but greenery and just in general, I feel like brightens up your room. I love to have greenery as much as possible, but I will say thrifting greenery is not that easy for me. I feel like when I go to thrift stores, it's usually very stylistically something that I wouldn't grab, or very dated in the sense that it doesn't really work well with what I have in my home. Now, just based off of its look, I feel like this was either at the dollar spot at Target or possibly the dollar store. But if it was at the dollar spot in Target, I feel like it was probably $3 to $5. If it was at the dollar store, at most it would be $1.25. So if it is a dollar store piece, I overpaid. I paid $2.99. I do feel like it should have been probably like $1.99. There were also 2 others with this, but I didn't want to spend $3 a piece on each of these. So I decided to only grab one, and I'm glad I made that decision. So $2.99, if I paid more for it, it's all right. Okay, so next up is a pot right here. So I love the shape. I think it's a really cute short shape, but I also really love the coloring on it. It's got a marble type color variation going on. I really love it. Forgot to take the tape off again. Oh, look at that. See, I should have took the tape off sooner, or else I wouldn't have known that. So upon taking the tape off, apparently, oh, nope, tape's still on. So apparently this removes. I'm intrigued. Again, the green I was gravitating towards for some reason. $9.99 I felt like was a little high. That's the price that I paid for this. However, I do really love the color. I love just the overall look of it. And at this point, it had been weeks where I wasn't actually finding a lot at the thrift store either. So I thought, well, it's not a price I love, but given the fact I haven't shopped as much as I usually do, I'm gonna give myself a pass. Next up are these brass duck bookends. I feel like at this point I'd probably say brass animals are a type of collection that I have too, but Bookends in general, I'm always looking for. I love bookends. When I found these, I was like, yes, I'm definitely getting these. I mean, these are the type of things that I was like, I don't really care about the price as long as they're in pretty good condition, which honestly, they are in pretty good condition. There's discoloration, aged brass. And honestly, in my opinion, brass is better when it's aged. So for these, it was $3.99. I don't know why I didn't mark them as a pair. Who would dare break up this set? Hopefully no one. I always do a buy it or leave it game on Instagram. Now, if you follow me on Instagram, you probably saw these so long ago. These were back in June. These are gonna be so great to style with. I am super happy about these, and I think a great price for the pair. Next up is this picture right here. Now, this was actually in a different frame. Fortunately, I broke the frame. Seems to be a common problem that I have. It was entirely an accident though, but thankfully I did have this frame, and while it's not perfect, I do feel like the way I have it styled, it actually works well. But I just really loved this scenic view. Again, it was just reminiscent of fall with the color variation that you see in here. And I've been looking for a lot smaller pictures to put on shelving and utilize them as layering pieces. So I thought this one was a good grab. Unfortunately, because I broke the frame though, I don't remember what the price of this was. And I don't want to guess either because whatever I guess is probably going to be wrong. But I do think that what I paid for it was fair. So I am happy that I picked it up. Next up is a vintage change holder. It says pocket change on it. I've seen these styles a lot over the years, and honestly just really cute. Solid brass, it's made in India, and yeah, I think these are always great to have. I do think these are just really cute to style with. This one was $2.99, which is brass. I think it's fair. I've passed up various styles over the years, and I think this one, because it's so simple and it's just minimalistic, I think I really gravitated towards that. And $2.99, again, I think is fair. And last but not least is this picture right here. Now, I will be completely honest with you. I bought this solely for the frame. Not to say that I'm going to change out the artwork in it. The artwork was kind of like an addition onto the frame because I really love the frame. It's a metal frame with this just very ornate kind of style. I haven't been able to find it much. So this particular day I went thrifting, this was actually the only piece I picked up. And honestly, with the price, you probably understand why. This was $24.99 for this piece. Now, is it old? Is it vintage? Of course. I can even tell on the back that it's a vintage piece. It has an old type picture hanging piece as well. Also this felt piece right here, so beautiful. Love this color. And I'm working on a couple gallery style walls in my home, so it will find a home. Like I said before, I know it's vintage, but I will say I had to sell myself on buying this one. Probably was a little jaded with my luck those past few weeks. So although I didn't want to pay $24.99 for this frame, overall, in retrospect, I do feel like it was worth it. So obviously I can't always have good days of thrifting. Sometimes I don't actually end up with any thrift haul once I go to the thrift store at all, but I do feel like a marathon of a thrift with me, maybe that's the upside. But if you liked this video or if you liked anything from the haul, definitely make sure you give it a thumbs up. But I want to say thank you so much for watching and thank you for thrifting with me. I hope you enjoyed it, and so I will see you in the next one. Bye! The tape is really finally off now. Apparently, oh my gosh! Sorry, more tape. Where am I going with this story? I don't know. Get back to the main point. Okay. Also, it kind of,